And that being said, I want to switch over to boxing last but not least and talk about the Abdullah Mason fight with Albert Bell from last week. I did a video last week giving my prediction, and the fight played out like I thought, and even caught me off guard because I did not expect Albert Bell to potentially be up in that fight late. You know, if you saw that fight, you know that many people thought that Abdullah Mason needed a knockdown just to be able to tie the fight. At least that's what some of the announcers thought. You know, I'll let you decide what you think about that. Abdullah Mason's corner was telling him to step on the gas. Like, they were telling him, we need urgency. Your corner doesn't tell you that if they think you're up in the fight. And then he went out in the 12th and he stopped him. I mean, he stopped him, man. I mean, you have to give Abdullah Mason so much credit. 22 years old, to be able to dig deep and put the pressure on in a critical point in the fight. Right? Now Abdullah Mason was coming on in the second half of that fight. The first half, it seemed like Bell was doing a lot of the things I was talking about in my pre-fight breakdown. It was a brief one, but the way I saw it was, you got a taller fighter with the same reach, so you're not going to be able to keep him at bay and be lazy. And he knows, he has a good jab and know how to use it. He's not a knockout artist by any means, but he's going to piece you up if you're looking for smoke. He will piece you up the whole fight. May not knock you out, but he'll piece you up the whole fight. And he was doing his thing for the first half of the fight. In the second half, you started to see Abdullah Mason slowly come on. And then round 10, I mean, he was that was a tough round for Albert Bell. And then in the 11th, you know, he makes it through the 11th, and then the 12th, Mason Abdullah came out the corner and just blitzed this man and lit him up. Had 2 knockdowns, and on the second knockdown, you could see him like hit the mat face first. And to his credit, he got up to one knee, and the ref came over and was looking at him, and before even giving him the benefit of a 10 count, he just waved it off. He might have said 1, 2, and then just waved it off. I'm like, this man got to the 12th round, and this is one of those tough ones. Because on one hand, this man went 12 rounds with the champion in his first, and maybe it might be his only shot at a world title. We don't know. And he fights his ass off, and may be leading on the cards going into that 12th round, depending on how you scored the rounds. And he gets knocked down twice, and in that moment, you gotta let that dude at least stand up and go out on the shield, or let his corner throw in the towel. You can't call the fight at that moment. But on the flip side, that second knockdown, I know people don't want to hear it, but he landed face first. That's not a good sign in terms of the odds of you being able to have your wherewithal when you get up enough to be able to defend yourself, let alone finish the rest of that round, depending on how much time you got. That's a tough one. It's hard to know how hurt he really was in that moment, whether he was going to be able to get up and at least just hold on and block and buy some time and just survive through the 12th round, or whether he was going to get brutally KO'd within the next 5 to 10 seconds after they reconvened following that second knockdown. That's a fine gray line, I'll put it like that. That's what I want to know from y'all in the comments. Do you think the fight should have been stopped? If so, why do you think that? Right? Do you not? Is it because you were afraid for his health, as opposed to him being up on the scorecards? Or if you wanted him to continue on, was that because you thought he was winning, and because you felt like he could hold on and maybe get a win, right? As long as he didn't get knocked down again in that 12th round, maybe he could have eked out that win against Abdullah Mason. Let me know in the comments. But I mean, for all in all, this was the scenario I had set up in my mind when I saw tape of Albert Bell. I didn't know anything about this dude. I heard Abdullah Mason was fighting, and then he said, oh, he has a last minute replacement. I don't know if it was a couple days out or a week out or whatever. And nobody's heard of this dude, Albert Bell. But apparently, he was, what, like 28-0 or 29? I had a lot of freaking wins, no losses. And even though he only had 9 KOs, he knows how to box. And he's a tall, lanky fighter. Like, no, that you're just going to have problems with him. Even if you win, he's going to be problems to go against because he knows how to use his range. The only thing is, like I said, like he'll keep his head up when he retreats. And sometimes he'll keep his hands down a little too much and he'll retreat with his head up, which is never good, right? But beyond that, like he's a tough fighter to deal with. And he was a sparring partner for Abdullah Mason and maybe they're brothers. So like they know each other. They're very familiar with each other's style. So that's why I thought that this all of a sudden was a better matchup than the original one. Like the original fight, I thought Abdullah Mason was going to beat him. Don't know who he was, but it wasn't a name I heard about. And unless something popped out to me on tape, I'm like, all right, I'm not necessarily looking forward to this. But once I saw him on tape, I'm like, yo, win, lose, or draw, this is going to be interesting at the very least. And I thought that as long as he didn't get too reckless with backing up with his head up and just tighten up his defense just a little bit, I'm like, yo, he might be able to win. He knows how Mason wants to operate, and his style is built to give somebody like Abdullah Mason trouble, and he did. So shout out to both of them for a great fight. Abdullah Mason made the adjustments, turned on the gas, and got him up out of there. Extremely impressed with what he did. Now, I didn't see the whole fight. I didn't see the fight live, but I saw the highlights, and the highlights definitely mimicked the full fight when I got to see some longer clips. But even the highlights, they did a good job of showing a good portion of what was happening in most rounds. And yo, 22 years old, he has some things to clean up, like I mentioned in the video. He definitely has some things to clean up. But I think he is well on his way to being a great fighter. I'm still a huge fan of Abdullah Mason. I think he has so much potential, not just offensively, but I think when he cleans up some of the defensive lapses, he's going to be a very, very good fighter. Now, let me know what y'all thought about that. Do you think Abdullah Mason was winning or losing prior to that stoppage? And do you think that Albert Bell should have been given a chance to go out on the shield? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And let me know what you think about the UFC fight from last night, the Conor McGregor injury, the submission victory by Paddy the Baddy over Benoit Dennis, and the aftermath of Abdullah Mason and Albert Bell from last week, and then what we got coming up with Earl Spence and Tim Tszyu. That being said, hope y'all enjoy the rest of your weekend and catch you on the next one. Peace.